Hey, today I want to talk about what to expect when you come to the Philippines and some do's and don'ts. I've got them written down on a note here, so I may be looking down a little bit, but excuse me for that. Let's see. The first thing is don't dress to impress. Don't wear expensive jewelry. Don't wear diamond rings. Don't wear gold earrings. Anything expensive jewelry. Or in Manila, they will rip them off your body. I'll never forget when I first come to the Philippines, I didn't have any public transportation. And I was going from Cavite, which is about 2 hours south of Manila, and then I was going to go to Bulacan, which is above Manila. So I took the bus. I had a backpack on, had my iPhone in my backpack. So I go into Manila and get to Rojas Boulevard. So I get to Manila and get to EDSA. And I got to EDSA, which is the main road that goes through Manila. So I had to change buses. So I got off the bus and I had to walk up a bridge over on an overpass and then go down, and the bus station was just right there. It took me like 2 minutes. Well, I had a backpack on with my cell phone in my backpack, and somebody in 2 minutes had reached into my backpack and stole my phone. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get them next time. So what I did was, the next time I took that trip, I put a big rat trap in my backpack and I tied a string to it. And I took that same route, and sure enough, as soon as I got up the steps going on that overpass, somebody had reached their hand in my backpack and that rat trap just smacked them. And I had a string attached to the rat trap to my backpack so he couldn't get away. And I looked around and all his buddies were laughing at him, but that was that was just a lesson learned. What to dress like here: shorts, light colored t-shirts, and flip-flops. If you're not comfortable wearing shorts, which you should be, because everybody wears shorts here and everybody wears flip-flops, but you could wear some loose fitting jeans if you wanted to. Ladies, the Philippines is very conservative. If you wear a dress here, make sure it goes below your knees. Don't be surprised if you see somebody urinating in the public here. It's very common. I mean, I even do it now. You just stop on the side of the road and you just urinate. I'll never forget, I was on a bus one time in Manila, and we were at a red light, and the red lights are long here, and the bus driver got out in the middle of traffic, and we weed right beside the bus. So that's very normal. Here in the Philippines, we have videoke. It's the same thing as karaoke in the States. And they got these machines you can rent. I'll try to get a picture and put it up on the screen. But what happens is, when someone's birthday, so they'll rent these videoke machines. And when I first got here in the Philippines 10 years ago, I mean, if it's someone's birthday, they rent these machines and they get drunk. And I mean, you can hear the music from a kilometer away. I mean, it's very loud. So if you're living next door to the person, it's very, very loud, and they would go all night long. It's just irritating. And but they would get drunk, and most Filipinos are good singers, but a lot of them, when they get drunk, I mean, they just sound terrible. And they would keep that videoke machine all night long, go to sleep about 7 o'clock in the morning, pass out from being drunk and all. Well, about 4 years ago, thank God, the barangay captains put a cap on it. They said by 10 o'clock p.m. you have to cut the machine way down. It has to be very, you can continue your party, but the music has to go way down. So speaking of barangays, what a barangay is, it's like a neighborhood in the Philippines. Now you can have 100 people in the barangay or you could have 5,000. And each barangay has its own elected captain and counselors. Some of the bigger barangays have their own jails, so if you get in trouble, you will hear the word barangay a lot here in the Philippines. Let me encourage you, if you're planning to move to the Philippines, to learn Tagalog. The Filipinos will be amazed that you learn their language. And then, like, when I go to the palengke, which is the market, and I go up to a lady and I say, ma'am, how much is this per kilo? She'd say 500 pesos. Ate, magkano iso kilo? She'd say 300 pesos because I spoke to her in Tagalog. So it helps you, and it's a fairly easy language to learn. A lot of Spanish influence in it, so I encourage you to do that. Health insurance in the Philippines. I've been here 10 years and I have no health insurance. I spent 5 days in a 5-star room in the hospital. Had my own private doctor, had my own private nurse, got custom meals, and it cost me $2,000. I mean, that's unreal. You can't even walk into a doctor's office in America for $2,000. So they do have insurance that you can buy here, but we just elected not to do it because the medical is so cheap. I mean, I can get a tooth pulled for 300 pesos. It's cheap. Everything is cheap here. So they do have PhilHealth. I've heard they went bankrupt because of COVID. But if you want to elect to get health insurance, that's up to you. We just don't do it. I'm not going to pay that monthly bill when I can just pay cash in pesos when I go to the doctor. Filipinos in general do not use toilet paper. After being here 10 years, I don't use toilet paper. So you're wondering why we don't use toilet paper? Well, we wash after every time we go to the restroom. I had a Filipino explain it to me like this. Do you wash your dishes with newspaper? No. That's the exact same thing as using toilet paper. So we wash, and once you start doing it, you'll never use toilet paper again. Here in the Philippines, traffic lights are only a suggestion. Now they have got stricter under Duterte in Manila, but in the provinces, I mean, it's just like controlled chaos. I love driving here. I know every time I go back to the States and I drive a car, my mom usually picks me and my wife up at the airport, and I usually drive from the airport to home, and my mom always tells me, she says, "Ooh, stop driving like that, son. You're not in the Philippines." So I forget. It's crazy driving here, but I love it. Manila is listed as always in the top 5 as one of the dangerous places to drive in the world. It's I think there are 7 people killed every day in Manila just on motorcycles. That doesn't include cars and tricycles and bicycles or people walking. So it's very dangerous to drive here. When you're riding in a jeepney in the Philippines, don't ever put your head outside the window. Now in the provinces, it's okay because there's no traffic. But in Manila or the big cities, they will literally get that close to each other. So if you put your head outside the window on a jeepney can come by and just take it off. Here's the one thing you'll hear in the Philippines. If somebody says, "Sir, just wait a while," that doesn't mean a long time. It confused the heck out of me when I first got here, but you'll hear that term, "Sir, just wait a while," but it'll only be like a couple seconds. And coming to the Philippines, make sure you have some body lotion, which you can buy here. Because of the heat and humidity, Your skin dries out really quick. Um, you want to bring, if you want to bring some sunscreen, but you can buy it here also. You need it because if you're out in the sun here in the Filipino heat, it will absolutely blister you. You may also want to bring a small umbrella, or you can buy it here also. It's normal for people to use umbrellas here to keep the heat off of them. Here's something that really made me mad when I first got here, but I'm normal to it. If you're standing in line, say you're at the pharmacy, and you're 4 back, a Filipino may jump in front of you. It's just normal here. You know, now, since I can speak Tagalog, I ask them, hey man, please go to the back of the line, or sir, please go back to the back of the line. It's not polite to jump in line. But if you're new coming here, just expect that's gonna happen. And with that being said, that same person is probably the nicest person in the world. It's just normal here. No one in the Philippines holds the door open for you. And if you hold the door open for somebody, don't expect a thank you. It's not like the States. It's just normal here. As Christians, we don't use the word Muslims here. We call them our cousins. It's just normal here. On the subject of Christianity again, if someone asks you if you're a Christian or born again, don't be quick to say yes. A lot of the Catholics think if you're born again or Christian that you worship Jesus on a cross. So if somebody asks you your religion, just say, hey, I'm in a relationship with Jesus. It is so normal to lose electricity and water here, especially during the rainy season, electricity. So if you rent here, I would suggest buying a generator. Thank the Lord we have a generator. It is now the rainy season here, and probably 2 or 3 times a week you're going to lose electricity. When speaking in English here, which is very normal, most people will understand you in English unless they're like 60 and above. English is taught here in the school system, but when you speak English, avoid using slang words. You know, like I'm from the South, and we say, you want to go down yonder, which means, do you want to go down there? But you can't speak that here in the Philippines. You have to just be clear, don't use slang words, and they'll understand you. Another thing that's common in the provinces here, not in Manila or in the big cities, but particularly in the Mungyong villages where we go to, is breastfeeding. And the women will just, you know, they do it out in the open. If you see it here, just don't stare at them, but just know it's common in the villages and in the provinces. Just a little tidbit. I would say 80% of the Filipinos want to have white skin. You know, in America, we lay in the suntan bed to get our skin darker. But here, particularly with my 17-year-old daughter, I don't know how much money I spend on whitening soap, whitening lotion. You know, I guess it's just you want what you don't have. You know, we want to be tan, and they want to be white. So let me talk about fast food restaurants here in the Philippines. In Manila or Cebu or Davao, all the big cities, we have all the major U.S. restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, many of them. But here's the deal. Like in America, a Big Mac meal costs you $5.99. Here in the Philippines, it's $3.46. But the difference is, our Big Macs here are smaller than what's in America. Like The last time me and my wife were in the States in 2018, we left our home base and we slept in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we slept late, and we got up and went to McDonald's to buy us a Big Mac meal, and we each got one. $12. But the Big Macs were so big, we couldn't eat it all. And then we looked for someone to give it away on the street, and of course, in America, people's usually not just sleeping on the streets right outside of McDonald's like they are here in the Philippines. So we saved it, but it was too big. I mean, it's just too much food for us. At the fast food restaurants here in the Philippines, when you order, a meal and you get your cup, you might have 2 ice cubes in it. I mean, it's very little. And then it's not like America where they have napkins and the condiments sitting out. You might get one napkin that's very small, and then you might get, with a Big Mac meal, 1 napkin. And that's all. So you have to go back and ask for more and more and more. It's not like America where they have the condiments sitting out and you can just get as much as you want. Now, I will say, in Kentucky Fried Chicken here in the Philippines, if you order a 1-piece chicken and rice, they give you a small bowl of gravy. But you can go back and they have but you can go back where you get your forks and spoons, and they have a pump bottle where you can get more gravy. So that's unlimited gravy. But it's totally different here in the fast food restaurants in the Philippines than it is in America. So thank y'all again for watching. Keep looking up. See you next time.